All right, I'm Bob Diaz, and this is Say It, Record It, Post It. I am from the College of Southern Nevada, located in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been teaching there for over 20 years. I haven't been using Camtasia that long, but don't worry about that. I've also taught at Southwestern College in San Diego County. And the reason I say that is that I'm sitting down in the speaker's room, and someone at the table next to me says, "You taught me AutoCAD in 2004. I'm going, "Really?" And I was surprised to see him there. So because now he's SolidWorks, and he's doing great. He's presenting here as well. Anyway, let's look at this. Creating educational training video. This is not just towards education; it's just towards training and training videos, educational videos, or whatever you need to do them in. I mean, there's different needs for everybody. All right. So on my abstract, I talked about creating YouTube videos to enhance your training library. Now, YouTube videos are very popular, of course. So you can find anything on there, including SolidWorks, of course. And you could put in a keyword, and it'll find, topics that you're looking for in SolidWorks. Right? And if you have pictures you're taking, for instance, if you're doing some safety things and you're looking at taking pictures and stuff like that, and you want to do a recording and narrate through it, you could import pictures into Camtasia as well. Of course, your PowerPoint, you could record your PowerPoint slides. What I'm trying to do is kind of get through these power slides, and then we're going to jump into Camtasia and try to use that and do some editing. Because this session's only an hour long, so I'm going to try to, I hope I don't talk too fast, but I'm going to try to get through as much as possible. And maybe have a little time at the end of the session for some questions and answers. Computer screens, of course, is the most common one where it records your screen, it captures your software that you're using. Whether you're using videos, and I just lost my place here, sorry about that. Using your videos that you shoot on site or just import from something. So I have an example here. Let me see if this is going to work. There's a YouTube on there. I actually went ahead and did it. So let's listen. It's around 90 seconds, and we'll check it out.
Hi. Electrostatic discharge, or ESD, is an electrical charge that is stored in something like human body and can jump to devices like laptops and cell phones and damage them. So engineers do a lot of testing on these devices to make sure they won't fail. What they use for testing is something called an ESD simulator or a gun. Here is a 25 kilovolt discharge to a grounded box. The tip of the gun here simulates a human finger. Always be careful with your tools. Now, they usually zap a completely assembled unit. But sometimes it's also beneficial to zap a bare board like this one and see what happens on the actual board. Never hold the board you're zapping with your hand because the ESD will jump to your body through the board. Now, this board is connected to ground with this wire, so if I try to zap it, it will continuously discharge. But if I disconnect the ground wire, it will only jump a few times. Because now the board is charged to the same level as the gun and it doesn't jump anymore.
Oh, buffering.
Is that what you said, Phil?
I'm recording this.
Oops.
Yeah, Phil will like it. Yeah.
I'll explain what's going on here in a second.
Pause it.
Always discharge a charge board before touching it.
All right. Okay. What happened in there is if you were here the last session, we talked about the program called Snagit, for capturing the screen and stuff like that. Snagit, the latest portion of Snagit actually will record video too. We'll Snagit, and that was off the YouTube using Snagit. And so, it picked up. My wife started talking to me while it was buffering, and she didn't realize I was recording, and that's what happened. But that's one of the things about it, is that anytime a video you could bring in there, I could go in there and edit it right out if I needed to. But that's just, I found that on YouTube. I started laughing, and I just thought it would fit appropriate for most of us in here, because we all know someone like that. Anyway, so getting it to video, okay? So, software programs, all right? We're going to talk about software programs to talk about the computer, audio microphones, which I just learned something new the last session, storyboarding, video camera is optional, and most important is a quiet place. And I think that was stressed also. All right, software programs. Now, TechSmith is the main, like the Salt system is the SolidWorks, okay? They do Camtasia Studio, they do Snagit, Camtasia Relay, and some other ones on there. Now, the question was brought up to me earlier about, how about Adobe products? And Adobe does have Captivate, I think it's called, and it's very similar to it as well. But Camtasia seems to be the most dominant video recording one on here. And someone else was using Tegrity. And I used Tegrity for like 1 month, and I said, forget it, I'm not going to use this. It wasn't that it wasn't bad, it was just, I had issues either with my computer, capturing the software correctly, especially the SolidWorks. It had issues with the SolidWorks. All right? Okay, computer recommendations. What are you using now? What do you have? Now, most of us have CAD workstations. If you have a CAD workstation, your current CAD workstation is adequate enough. You could use an older one, as a matter of fact, and still get away with it. But as we learned last time, is that the best system is the latest system you have, and most workstations that you have are great. So if you have something like that, use it. And most, for those of you who are going to make the videos, you're going to have the best in front of you. And that's not always going to happen, but it's going to be great. Now, the person before me had this nice brand new laptop with, was it 32 gigs of RAM in it? Is that what you had? Boy, that was quick. When that video wrote, that thing really ripped. You're going to see the difference in this one, how slow it is. If you have anywhere from, right now, Camtasia saying, all right, XP, Service Pack 3, all the way to Windows 8, it'll support them. Okay? If you're, who uses a Mac in here? All right. 2 people. All right. 3? Okay. I actually have some giveaways. All right. One is a Mac, one's a PC, and one's Snagit. Okay? So stick around. I'm going to make you stick around. All right? Quad-core processor. As you know, dual-core. Some of these are TechSmith's recommendation as far as minimum requirements, but you'll realize the more you have, the better off you're going to be. Right. And if you're running SolidWorks, that's 8 gigs or more. It's about probably the minimum right now that you have. So, TechSmith says, all right, you could do it with 4 gigs. Yes, sir. 4 gigs doesn't cut it. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing about it is that, regular stuff for Camtasia, probably 4 gigs will cut it, but when you're running high-end stuff, you really need more than that. If you have a laptop or a desktop, Camtasia works on either one. It depends on what your preference is. Sometimes you're on the road and you need to make a quick video. It's always good to have it on there. So I have it on my school computer, and I also have my desktop. And once again, this is not my laptop. I had to laugh at what the previous speaker went through. I still have my power cord. I have a Mac ProBook with Boot Camp on it. Well, Boot Camp, one of the versions of Boot Camp and PowerPoint don't play anymore. It will freeze up PowerPoint just like that. And so I found out what the problem was, so I called IT, our IT department, and they says, oh, we don't support Boot Camp anymore. I go, really? So I had to scramble for another one. I borrowed one from another instructor, had to rebuild it, and go from here. All right? All right, some audio microphones. Now, the previous speaker talked about the TechSmith lapel mic. Is that what you had? Right? And I haven't tried that one out, to tell you the truth. And is it cordless as well? The lapel mic? It's not? It is? No, it's not. Okay. So most of them you're going to have is USB. I've heard Snowball, a little professional type in here. Okay. Your gamer headsets, these are good, but as the previous speaker says, sometimes you get some noise that you don't want, but you can still edit that out of there. I like these. Sometimes I like to use these just because it zones everything out. I mean, I'm sitting there listening. I could concentrate on it. I'm not distracted by other noises around. Even though I'm in my room, there's always someone knocking on my door or something like that. So every once in a while I like that. But I do get a little bit more noise than I wish for. What's that? My wife is an example I could. I started off with this one, a little Logitech, just a little mic. You could kind of set it anywhere on there. What I tried latest is this one right here. It's called X-Tag, and it's a wireless one. I have it up here right here. And because when I lecture, I like to record my lectures, and when I'm in the classroom, and I like to get up and walk around. Well, if I had any of the previous ones, I'm walking away from the mic, and it's kind of recording me. You hear my fainting. But if I had this on, it records me. It's a wireless thing, and there's no audio lost at that point. So this is an option. You know, like I said, you're going to find what you like. Right? But I do want to try that lapel one. That sounds really interesting. So, okay. Next step, we're going to talk about storyboarding. Okay, once again, you want to plan it out. You want to write it out. So first of all, you have to come up, select a topic that you're going to talk about, right? And you have to put an outline on it if you need to, right? And then you go ahead and show the steps, right? If I want to show you how to make a pizza, you show the steps and do it that way, and then you have your storyboarding. Right? Video cameras. What kind of video cameras should we use? I don't think that kind of video camera is going to work, so let's try something a little bit more contemporary. Just some clip art here. Digital cameras, all right? Computer cameras, right? The one there's someone showed you earlier. Your phones have video capability on them. Digital cameras have video capability, and of course, with digital stills as well. All right, and let's talk about Camtasia media files. Now, if you have a file that you downloaded from the web, right, or you've created someplace else, or someone shared it with you, you can see all the different media files. Image files, you got bitmap, GIFs, JPEGs, and PNG files. Audio files, you got waves, MP3s, WMAs. Video, that's audio. Now video is Camtasia recording, AVI. Now when I first started using Camtasia, it just did AVI files at first. Now it has its own special cam recorder on it, which you could actually go back to AVI if you want to. Okay. One of the things that first intrigued me, I wanted to use something that would reduce the file size, because we're talking 6 years ago when I first started using this, and video sizes were so large, putting them on the web, and it just, oh my gosh. So it was like, all right, what does it? And then someone said, hey, try Camtasia out. And so Camtasia cuts the size of the file tremendously. I mean, almost 10% of the original file, if you do some editing to it, it's going to cut it down, with just minor editing on it. It's going to cut it down quite a bit, depending on which file format you use. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit, some of the options on what you have, what you could do at least. Okay? All right, getting started. Okay, before you get started, I have my little notes here. Before you start starting any Camtasia, you want to make sure everything is started. Because once you hit that record button, right, and then you go back and start SolidWorks or start another program, you don't want to sit there and have some dead time. Even though you could edit that out, you don't want to sit there and have that. Also, for any kind of your audience, if you're recording it and you have an audience at that point, whether it's students or training, you're training, whoever you're training, you want to, cut that little space out of there so that they don't lose interest. One other tip on this is that you want to keep videos. It's recommended that you just keep it at like 5 minutes. Once you start going over 5, 10, 15 minutes, it becomes too long for them. So if you kind of keep it to 5 minutes, and I have a tough time doing it because when I start recording, I have 2 screens. I have the counter going on one. I have them recording on another screen. And next thing I know, I look over, and I'm at 13 minutes. I go, oh, my gosh. It's just, and I'm thinking in my head, I got to wrap this up and start the next session. Because you're just talking about, a specific feature in SolidWorks or whatever program you're using, and you lose track of time real quick because it's going really, really fast, and you're recording, and next thing you know, you're way overhead, and not that it's bad, but it just, if you keep it to 5 minutes, you try to keep that target. If you go over, great, no big deal, but you want to keep it done. Now, someone talked to me earlier. They have these 1 minute tips where they keep it to 1 minute, boom, and you're done. And I think that's great. Sometimes you can't explain something in 1 minute, but you can. So you want to be able to start all programs, okay? We'll start Camtasia. First, when you start Camtasia, you have your Camtasia editor, and then you'll have your Camtasia recorder, okay? Now, let me talk about a little bit more. Let's do an example. Let's do a quick video. Now, one thing I want to point out is that before we start, I'm going to go through this. The first thing I always check, because I've done this before, on my computer at my office, I have all these different mics set up to where I've tried this one, I tried this one, or whatever. It remembers all the mics you used. And all of a sudden, I forget to plug it in or whatever, and I start recording. And next thing I go to review it, there's no audio because I didn't check that little graph right there. If that's not moving at all, it's not going to work for me, right? And I don't know, I tried this on this laptop, but it does record it, but it's very faint. And so in this area, you want to make sure that this is a little graph, a slide graph. You don't want it to turn red, of course, but if it does, we want to slide it down a little bit and do that. This audio right here will allow you to select your microphone and whatever one you use. Now, unlike the previous presenter, he likes to have his webcam on. I don't. If I do anything, I'll do it up front of the class. After that, I like to hold the whole screen because I'm using the whole screen. There are some cases where I can zoom in using Camtasia and zoom back out if I need to. So I don't use my webcam as much as the previous, but it's personal preference on how you want to do that. Okay. And I'm glad you don't have your webcam on when you're on your robe. That's nice of you. Thank you very much. All right. I'm going to talk about advanced functions here right after this. Let's just do a little Alt tab here, and let's go to that. Actually, I want to go to. See, I don't have. I don't have SolidWorks started, but I think that's what I want to show in part of the demonstration that I want to be able to show you, just what happens when you start a program after this. So now I'm going to hit the record the screen, and it should bring up this. Okay. All right. Now, whatever happens. Now, here's one of the things I do. If I make a mistake, I try to pause, give it a little 5 seconds, and then start from there. I don't pause the screen. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but I just pause it because I could go back and edit it. I'm going to show you how to zoom in and edit that portion when we're ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the record right now. And right now I have, this comes up. This comes up when you have your captioning on. Camtasia 8 has a captioning speak to text option that you could, if you're doing any kind of ADA compliant or anything else, where if you're doing training videos in Canada, for instance, everything's required closed captioning. Camtasia will take your voice, if you train it correctly, and it will put the text in there. It will come in a little crazy, so you have to go back in there and edit. If you have good speech recognition, once you work with it, the more you work with it, of course, the better you speak, the better it's going to come out. So it'll do it automatically for you. I have it on right now. If we have some time, I'll go back and I'll show you how it works and how to import it and how to go in there and edit. And I'll show you what it does once it starts recording your voice. Okay? All right. Now, I didn't check the audio, but I have it up all the way because the mic is kind of weak on this. So we'll go from there. So I'm going to need to go to the desktop here. Let's go right there. And I'm going to start SolidWorks. All right. Now, you see, this is not a quick computer. It's not going to sit there and bring it up like some of yours will. It doesn't have a lot of memory on this, but you can see that, it takes some time to do it. And as you're bringing it up in class, you got to sit there and either wait for it to come up and there's some silence, or you start talking, trying to fill on the spot, in which you really don't need to do that. Okay, my server license should be working. Other issues. Okay. Okay, see, this is one of the issues that it has that you had, I went out and I went last night because I had the same issue. I went and borrowed the license because it's a license manager, and I checked it and it was fine, and now it doesn't want to work out fine. So I'm going to log into my account real quick, through my VPN account. And this is what I didn't want to do, is have this dead space time. But it's recording it. Right now it's recording everything that I'm doing. All right? But I could go in there and edit it out to where if it's, it just looks like I just went from point A to point B without this interruption in here. Okay. Let's try this again. All right, that worked that time. Okay, so I'm just going to do like a quick video starting up SolidWorks. I'm going to just do a quick little part. I'm not going to even try to do anything special for it or whatever. I'm just going to bring it up. Say new. Say okay to that. You can see how much memory is so valuable to your computer when you don't have enough. All right, let's start a sketch here. Let's start this rectangle. Okay, smart dimension here. And let's do 4. Say okay to that. And if I am driving you guys a little nuts, because I don't use a right mouse or whatever, keys, right, no big deal. Okay, so there I did a simple part using that. Now let's go ahead and go to our features here and extrude it. All right, now it's recording this. Now, so whatever you want to do, whenever you want to stop it, go ahead and stop it. Now, there's 2 keys on here that you have to kind of be aware of. It's the F9 and the F10 key. Now, the F9 is a pause start key. So if I wanted to pause the recording while I was struggling to get it up and running, I could have hit the F9 key and then make sure everything's running and then continue on, hit the F9 key again. Once again, if you forget to hit the F9 key, you're going to forget about it. You're going to start lecturing, and next thing you know, you missed half the lecture. Okay? Because I used to do that with when I lectured, I would sit there and so let's take a 15-minute break. I hit the F9 key. We come back from the break. I forget to hit the F9 key, and I start lecturing again. Okay? So that's one of the pros or cons about F9. Now the F10 key will stop it. So if I hit the F10 key now, it's going to stop it, and it's going to create a quick video of what I just did. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and you could sit there and listen to it, but there's no reason to. I'm going to go ahead and just say, let's save it. Okay? And I'm going to say capture 2. I'm going to hit save right there. And it goes through this little quick process. Right? And it's going to bring it and put it in your timeline. Now here's where you have your video options. Right? It automatically puts it in your timeline, so you could see it down here. If you want to change it, you could go ahead and change it. Now, you're going to hear a lot of different. It's like. If you ever, how many people golf in here, for instance? I'm not that big of a golfer, but every time I go out golfing with the foursome, I have 3 coaches, okay? So it's always that way. You're going to have a lot of different advice from a lot of different people. When I first started off using it, I just went with the recorded dimensions, all right? You could set it to whatever you want to. You had some recommendations for the last presenter and stuff on here. I'm just going to go ahead and do this because I could always reduce it if I needed to, or shrink it. Because if I do it here, and I say okay to that, there's also an option up here. It says, oops, I really didn't want to do that. I have an option up here to change it back to what I needed to, if I really want to try it. And sometimes what you want to do to get to where you want to go to is maybe try a couple of these, because each recording you do is based off the saving, because there's 2 recordings going on here. The one you recorded originally and the video you're going to reproduce. You could do as many videos from that one recording as you want to. So if you want to do it and see what the sizes are and see what the image, how it comes across, that's up to you. Okay? Now you see the audio in here. It didn't really pick up very much. If you notice from the last one that it's just, well, what do you do about that? I mean, so let's talk about a little editing process in here, all right? When I hit the save, it automatically put it in here. If I want to add more, you could add more to it, but you had to drag and put it into your timeline or whatever, all right? So I just kind of briefly talk about that. But let's talk about the audio right now, okay? I'm going to go in the audio and see how it brings up. It highlights the whole thing. I didn't highlight any other ones. This is kind of just real basic stuff real quick. What I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to basically enable volume leveling, okay? It brings it up a little bit. That's all right. And I'm going to enable a noise removal, okay? If I hit the vent in here, I could go remove clipping, remove clicks, and it has a slide bar for these to adjust how much you really want to filter out. Okay. Now, another thing on here that I want to kind of show you on here, if I wanted to get a little bit more volume, I just hit volume up. You can see the volume level start to raise up a little bit now. Or I could go volume down. Right? You ever sneeze in the middle of a presentation? If I sneeze somewhere in here, I could find it. Now, it'd be kind of tough to see that from here. So with my audio on here, I'm going to go ahead and drag this over here. I'm just going to take this in here. I was actually going to do a fake sneeze just to do it, but I didn't want to get too carried away. So anyway, it's kind of tough to see where I'm doing it here. There's a little slider bar here. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now this is your real time in here. All right? You have, this is at 30 seconds. This is at 1 minute over here, and over here is 1 minute, 20 seconds. Once I bring the slider over, it's going to zoom in to where you're going to just see basically almost nanoseconds in here. All right? So if I'm going to slide it back a little bit. You probably can't, I don't know if you can see the very end of that or not. All right, let me go ahead. So I'm going to drag this back over here. All right. Zoom in a little bit, zoom in a little bit, and it'll get really, really close in here. All right. So if you want to just narrow it down just a little bit in here, let's get a little close over here so we can see what we're doing. Okay. And I want to zoom into that area right there. Okay. Let me pan over a little bit over here so I can see the whole thing in here. I've zoomed in too far here. Okay, that's better. Okay, here it is right there. That little piece right there, I want to do it. You could also listen to that just portion. Okay? There's not a lot of audio there going on because that's when I was waiting for it to come up and do that. So once you get it to where you want to, the highlighted area that I have right here, let me do another little minus in here so I can see the whole area. Over here I have the total time, which is 5 minutes and 5.27 seconds. Now once I hit the cut off of this, basically it's going to cut it for good. It's going to be gone off of the timeline. If I need to reload it, I go back I unload it from here and reload it from the original recording. All right? It's not done from the recording that you did. This is part of the video editing that you're doing this. So if you did a mistake and you want to bring it up, of course it's a Control-Z for undo, but you could actually reload the whole thing if you just feel you messed up too much and start from scratch. Here's a little scissor that says cut. So it cuts that portion right out. All right? So now I'm down to a little bit less than 5 minutes. All right? So I'm going to zoom out a little bit some more. Okay? And I'm going to see how that audio came out. It didn't come out too good because my mic isn't working good. I should have hooked that up. That's what I should have done. So anyway, cut all the blank areas out. You can see the volume levels in here if you need to, like that airtime. And you can start editing things out. If you ever want to take a point, we're going to slide this over right about there. And I want to go ahead and split it. Basically, I'm going to split the screen right there. All right. So let's click out of here. Let's go to callouts. All right. So I have a split here, and I also have a split over here. Right? So you could actually split your screens in there. And at any time you want to, let's get out of here for a second. Let's go to the clip bin, I'm sorry. Now, if I want to bring any kind of image in, so let's go to my PowerPoint real quick. And I want to, let's go to Snagit. I'll use Snagit for right now. Let's go just to an image right now. And I want to just take this, just like he showed you earlier. No big deal. Copy all. And let's see if I could just paste that in here. I need to import that. I need to save it is what I need to do. All right. Wrong one. I can't find my mouse. Okay, so I'm going to do draw and save. I'm just going to call it stuff. And I am put it on my desktop and say save. Go back to Camtasia Studio. I want to import some media. And I go back to the desktop, and I should find stuff down here. Okay. And I can just drag and drop that into another track. It automatically puts it on another track, and it puts it in there for 5 seconds. Right. So it's going to actually blend with that. So if I need to take that, let me see if I could take the right side here and then stretch this out over here. So if you kind of need to break up your video and just kind of put a little introduction or a little pop-up slide as a caption saying, okay, we're going to now get into a different feature in SolidWorks and kind of explain the text in there. All right. It should show you on the preview over here, and I have it way over here. Let's talk about it right there. All right. And as it goes through it, when it's done, it'll pop right back to your video. Okay. And it'll stop between those areas. Okay. So let's take this. Oops, not there. That one, this one. And let's cut that out, all the way out. I want to cut it down to less than a minute. I'm down to 3 minutes, but I could talk while I'm doing that. Okay. Now let's do that right there. Let's cut that out and let's go ahead and record it. Now, before I record it, there's other things in here that you could do. Now, you notice that my mouse, one of the bad habits I have is I have my mouse kind of just jumping all over the place and stuff. And I really have to, we kind of be cautious of that, so I try to do that. So in here, I'm going to go into my cursor settings, my cursor effect. I talk about this in advanced settings in here. And in my cursor settings, okay, all right. In my cursor settings, I'm going to put in my highlight effect. All right. I'm going to say that I want it to highlight it. So it has a little, basically like a highlighter where your mouse is at, your mouse pointer is at. So the student could always find it, when they're looking at your video. So wherever it goes, it's going to follow it with a little highlight. You can always see that. The next one is the left click. So every time you pick something, right, the student doesn't know. If you don't tell it, says, okay, I'm picking now. I'm picking the mouse. If you don't tell them, if you just do it, they're going, well, what did you just do to do that? So every time I do my left click, I go ahead and put some rings in there. And you can see what happened in there when the ring comes up. And let me try to see it do it if I can here. Let's try something different. Let's go to none, go back to rings, and watch the little red rings that come up. Okay? Now, right click. If I do a right click on here, and there's a little down arrows here. I'm going to go back into that in a second. I'm going to go ahead and do wrinkle effect here. And once you selected something over here, these little side arrows come up, so you could actually change the color, change the length, change the size, and the duration, if you want it to go longer or shorter. You could change the color of them, and also every time you change it, it shows you that every time you pick the button on the video, it's going to show it on there, and that's actually show the student that you just did something, and they know just by doing that, just by seeing that you just hit the pick button. So if they're following along, they can see that. Same thing with the same thing with the right click. If you want to change those settings as well, and of course the highlight too. The left click and the right click, the noise, you could actually have a little ding on there if you wanted to. Every time instead of having an effect on there, you could actually have a sound to it. Do you do a little mouse click or whatever, they could actually hear that, knowing that you just hit the button there. Okay. I don't put that on there, as I just leave it off. I just use the visual effects that way. Okay. All right. That's one of the things I do. And I told you that I had the captions on there. And let's do the 88 compliant. That's 88 compliant. And let's go ahead and see if this worked. And it talked about speech to text, entire timeline. And it tells you to go in there, train it up, and use your microphone. And you got to practice. And it takes time to do it. And what it's going to do is take a little bit of time and it actually go in there and recognize all the speech unless it crashes. It's not crashed yet, so don't freak me out yet. It did, on one version of 8, it did. It would basically click, and I contacted them. They said, download this new version or whatever, and see it, and it worked that way. And it crashed. Okay. Because I downloaded the latest version, but this is doing it. So we're not going to be able to do that. And I'm sorry to say that. And then do the then the caption, exactly. Yes, you could do that as well. He was basically saying that you could, if your audio didn't come out, you could actually go back and narrate over that. Okay. Let's do a recover, see if it gives a recovery here. All right, save as. Okay, it brought it back. I don't know what point it brought it back to, but it did bring it back. I'm at 3 minutes, so let's go ahead and produce it anyway. And let's talk about the different options in here. Now, you have the share to screencast. When you could actually register for this through TechSmith, and I think you get 2 gigabytes of something like that. 2 gigabytes. If you want to buy more, that's fine. If your school has a server you want to store it on, you could do it on there. Someone mentioned Dropbox earlier. You could do it that way. The students, you don't have control of it. I use an LMS. I've used Blackboard. I've used WebCT. I've used Angel. In fact, I'm using Angel now. Angel's being phased out because Blackboard actually bought WebCT, phased them out. We were using WebCT. So we went to Angel. Blackboard bought them out, and they're phasing that out too. And now we're jumping to Canvas. So I'm going to learn another one. But I've used Blackboard at Southwestern College, like I said before. And so I like to post them right into the LMS. And students can download them if they want to, or just view them right online. Everything I do is paperless, too. I mean, all my content's on the web. And I don't hand anything out. All right, so let's go to custom properties here and talk about this. Now, you kind of have to pay attention to what's going on in the description and what you're trying to do. Because if you're doing an MP4 player and you want closed captioning, you're going to have a certain setting. If you want to have the automatic zooms in and out, where you can actually zoom in at a certain area and then zoom back out, you could do that as well. Let me see, what time is it? I need to watch my time here. So I've got like 15 minutes left here. Let me cancel out of this for a second and let's do a little zoom. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to take this and I want to zoom in. Let's go to zoom. Let's see here. That's not what I want. I want to do it over here. That's what I want to do. There it is. So if I want to zoom into a certain area and just kind of highlight that area, okay. And where am I at here? And I come down here. I don't do it that often, but every once in a while I have to do that. And maintain aspect ratio, okay. And where's my zoom? There it goes right there. Okay. So my zoom is right in there, and it's zoomed out of there. All right. Okay. So if you're trying to specifically go to a point to where you're going to tell someone to go to, and you want to zoom in a little closer because of resolution, you can zoom into that area, and it will show you exactly which icon to pick on. Because if you're using a high resolution screen and stuff, because with me, I need larger resolution in some cases, and sometimes it's easier for your recordings. Like I say, you're going to have to experiment which resolution works for you and which video output you're going to use. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave that in there, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to produce, custom. Here's a WAV file. You've got flash files, AVI files, movie files for QuickTime, M4Vs for iPods and iTunes or whatever you want to do it. A lot of students have these iPads and whatever. You want to output to that, and GIF files, whatever. So I'm going to just leave it on WAV for right now. And we'll go to the best studio as far as what's recommended here. Custom size, a size output. And one thing I like to do is I like to label it. I put this watermark on it. Here's a preview of the watermark that I have. If I go to options, I also like to do an emboss type. Okay. All right, so it kind of embosses it on there, and that will stay with the video wherever it goes. So if they share it, they know it came. They'll have my logo, the CSN logo, the school's logo on there, so they know where it came from. That's my way of stamping it. And SCORM, if you use SCORM or not, I don't use it. Some people do. Enable video into HTML. There's a lot of options you could do. I mean, it goes on and on. And once you save your project, your Camtasia project, it'll automatically put that name as far as your video name is going to be. Okay? So I named it as stuff, just to put it on there. And once it's done with this, let's go ahead and finish. I'll just go and do it. It should go through a process of creating the video. Now you can see this is only a 3-minute video, and I'm what, 3% done? And that's because I don't have enough memory. Even though it's strong enough to run, SolidWorks and Camtasia, it's still kind of hard to run. So let me kind of see if I could bypass this in a minute here. So let's go to desktop here. Where did I put that one? I think it's in here. Camtasia Studio automatically puts a folder in your documents folder when you load it, right? So if you're trying to find where it's at, right, they're in here. Okay, there's my stuff folder, my stuff on there. I did this one yesterday, so let's see how it works out now. This is a Windows Media file. Like I say, it could be a lot of different files of what you want to do. And let's see if audio works on this. Okay. So here I start SolidWorks. Okay. Let me see if I can get that a little louder. It's picking up something. I don't know what it's picking up. Okay. You see it's still doing that. All right? So in any case, we'll let it run, and let's go back to my PowerPoint and just wrap this thing up so I could get some of these things out. Let's go in here. As far as advanced functions are concerned, the cursor settings, I kind of went through that with you. Changing the cursors and stuff so that students can see what's going on. Your sound settings to take off filtering out the noise in the background. Speech to text when it's working right. I thought I had the latest one on here, but apparently I don't. So I have to kind of download something. And if it's not working on yours, contact them and they will send you another link to download the version that works. Because every time they do I think it's 8.03 or 8.04, I forget what it is. Every time it's 3, yeah. Every time they do one, it's something happens to something else. Callouts, I didn't get a chance to go through the callouts, but you could do these little big old arrows or big old balloons on here with text in them and saying, pay attention to this, or make sure you do this, or you can use arrows, clouds, and there's many options in there that you could use. The background doesn't have to be blue. It could be yellow. It could be green, purple. You could actually do quizzes with Camtasia. You could actually put a quiz on there, and it will grade it for you. And so you could actually go in there and set it up. I have never done that. I'm going to try to do that one of these days and try to make it real simple. One of the things that a lot of the faculty like to do at our campus is do a syllabus quiz, right? So I'm thinking about doing a syllabus quiz for this, and so that they go through it, they can see what Camtasia is all about. Also know they have to read the syllabus in order to pass it. And it's 100% pass. If they don't pass the syllabus quiz, and they got to take it over until they do it over. They do pass it. A Jumpstart is another third-party online video. You talked about Solid Professor and Inspire Tech. And by the way, Al is no longer Inspire Tech. He sold his video to somebody else, I think now. Yeah, he works for HSM or something like that. And they went over to the dark side. Yeah, okay. And in fact, he's usually here. And I saw him, and I was surprised to see him, but he's working for another software company that we won't talk about. Okay. But he did sell his videos to another person. I don't know, but contact him. He'll be glad to tell you about that. Blogs, there's a lot of blogs on how to do this, and there's much, much more. And like I said, I only had an hour to do this. And I knew I'm going to have some hiccups. All right. I have business cards here if you want to contact me. I have pins. I have some flash drives. I have sample software for you to take home and try it yourself, a 30-day trial. Instead of downloading, you get a CD on it. Now, as far as giving these out here, if you have a business card, I'll put it in a bag. We'll just do a drawing. Okay? I have, like I say, I have the Camtasia version 8, and all the upgrades are free. Once you get the version like 8, it'll check to see if you have the latest version. If you don't, it'll prompt you to download it. The Mac version, okay, and the Snagit 11 2.1. Okay, so let me have your business cards, and then while you're up here giving me your business cards, take some pins. I got some flash drives. I got keychains from Vegas, and the software. All right, take what you want out of there. There you go. And take as many as you need, too. I have plenty. Yeah?
Compared to this, are they somewhat comparable, or is it just...
It's okay, that's fine. Oh, okay. All right. All right. There you go. All right. Okay.
Check the audio, but I have it up all the way because the mic is kind of
Oops,
loose on
sorry
this,
about
so
that.
We'll go from there. So I need to go to the desktop here.
Okay. Any more business cards? You can put some more in there. Do you really need it? Really? I have more flash drives too, guys. If we ran out of flash drives. Yeah. You really need a keychain from Las Vegas, I tell you. And also be given the T-shirts away too. I only have a few T-shirts, so. But by the way, what's that? Yes, you can if you want to. Yeah, put money as you want in there. You can only win once at a time. Okay. There you go. I'm actually changing the name of my program, so. All right. Oh, okay. I'll get out of your way here as soon as possible then. All right. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just basically call the name out, and you can pick what you want first. So, Mr. Jeff Calistang. All right. Great. Which one do you want? You want a T-shirt or you want a software? That's a no-brainer. The Camtasia 8? Okay, great. All right. John Hawkins. I got Snagit or Camtasia for the Mac. All right. Or a T-shirt. All right. Tweed Green. Or it's not, sorry, that's the name of the, Stephen Dusko. Okay, Stephen. Camtasia for the Mac or a T-shirt? You want a T-shirt? What size? I think I have a large. There you go. All right, and I got a Brian McAllier. Mac or T-shirt? Okay. I know there's a couple people on Mac. They're waiting. I know. Here's an XL. It's the biggest I have. All right. I've got a disc in the tray if you want to pull it out. Ed Pascal. Another Mac user. There you go, Ed. All right. Thomas, thank you. Thomas Alsop. For a T-shirt. Hold on. I want to give you some pins. whole stack of pens for being patient. I don't have much left. Sorry about that. All right, let's get some more out here. Dave, you won, David. So you get a T-shirt and a pack of pens for you. It says, I'm teaching it right now. Here, I was going to give you these so you could give them out in your next presentation. All right. All right, Nina. All right, what did I just do with it? There it is right there. Okay, medium okay? Or large? Okay. All right. Jamie Cohn. Got my last T-shirt. He just left. How about John Hawkins? No? Peter? All right, that's it. Thank you, guys. All right, have a good one.